Adam, like obviously, you said that you do a lot of the, the production. How much is in-house? Like what is your process? Do you, cause, I'm going to expound a little bit on this, cause every time I talk to a band, a lot of times the producer is a really instrumental part in trying to kind of get an outside perspective on the music. And to kind of have a non-biased opinion as they're recording. So you being in the band and producing, what's kind of your method to really keep your emotions out of a song that you may be in love with that may be improved or helped by outside perspective?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, definitely I'm like heavily involved kind of from start to finish. I
Mm-hmm.
would say in the demoing process at least, one thing I do sometimes that helps me is as soon as I like write the song or the instrumental at least, if I don't listen to it for a while and I come back to it later on, when I do come back to it, I can be like way more objective and just be like, oh, this is like really missing something here. I need to restructure this.
Yeah.
So from a songwriting perspective, that's one thing that's definitely helped.
How long would you say that you need to be away from it before you kind of clear your mind of that melody of that song that you've got in your head?
I mean, maybe at least a few weeks, but also something else
Okay.
that helps. If you just dive into like writing more music, then it kind of like clears that space up a bit, if that makes sense. Then you
No, that
come
makes a
back.
complete sense
Yeah,
because you're basically replacing it. It's kind of like, oh, no room for
exactly.
that one anymore. You're kind of pushing it out to the side.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then
And
when it comes to the recording producing part, um, I mean, another, I guess, way I try to keep things objective is I'm constantly sending mixes to friends like, Nelson, we talked about a little bit. I always have him crit my mix and, tell me where it could be improved. And we're actually, a good friend of ours, Drew, who's in the band and masters all our stuff. So kind of
oh,
the
awesome.
the very final stage after the mixes are done, we have that outside
You have
perspective,
another
which
set of ears on it too.
yeah, yeah, that's been super helpful too.
That's awesome. Well, and I mean, I feel like it's really cool because, you know, there are a lot of bands who don't have that in-house production, so they aren't able to really know their full potential because they don't have someone who can help them reach that. So it's probably like it's probably really advantageous to the rest of the guys in the band for you to be like, all right, we can actually improve this, we can do more, we can add to this, we can tweak this because you've got that full capability, right?
Yeah, definitely. And Matt's got a ton of production experience as well, so it's been super nice just sending ideas back and forth and coming up with harmonies and tweaking parts here and there. um,
That's awesome.
Production and experience in a band is just so helpful, especially like when we were in the pandemic. We were still on the more cautious side at the beginning stages of the band,
Yeah,
and doing a lot of that work remote was really nice.
I'll bet.
And it's so luxurious to have a demo that 10 minutes after you write something. Like it's ridiculous. That's it's a luxury that I forget about sometimes. Is having Adam and Matt when we're writing something, as we're writing it, they're demoing it out and literally mixing it so that we have a demo to play and I can go home and practice to and whatnot right after we wrote it. Where normally,
That's
it's
incredible.
a whole demoing process. No, it's just
So
wrote it.
so with that, like you're demoing it as you're playing it, how many changes come, like you got that first initial demo that you guys are putting together, Adam and Matt are kind of mixing it and getting it ready for everyone to have as they're going to listen to it. How many times are you guys going in and saying, "All right, I found stuff I really love and I found stuff I really hate." How much is that happening with each demo?
I might be the pickiest. I'm just gonna say that. I find a lot of stuff I don't like, and a lot of it's mine. So
Well, I mean, that's valuable, right? Like, be your own biggest critic. It
yeah,
helps to improve yourself. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say a
if
lot of what I throw down at the beginning, especially like with the original material we did, because we have started kind of messing around with some new ideas. Because of prior experience, you know, because I used to be like kind of where Adam's at with bands in the past, where I was putting together all the EPs and everything. I guess knowing enough to know like, okay, a lot of this is gonna change, so I try to just put
mm-hmm.
down like one line. Unless I have a really good idea for like a harmony, it's pretty much like I know when he and I go through and do the like final vocals, that's oftentimes where like the harmonies come into play.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of not committing to like too much up front, I think at least vocally has been kind of a good idea, I think, for us.
I'd imagine, yeah.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of it with the drum parts too. I don't know, maybe you guys change more than I think, but I feel like I have changed more drum parts, and not because I don't like them, because it's really cool hearing what you come up with, and oftentimes it's not something that I would have come up with. So it's good for me as a challenge to like, okay, I got to learn this thing that isn't as intuitive, mostly because you
Mm-hmm.
write such damn hard parts.
I
There's
think
some of those fills where I'm like, dude, I just cannot keep
he,
up with
he
that.
might be the first drummer that can actually play my MIDI drum parts. I just write stupid parts sometimes.
Begrudging, no, I'm kidding. But it's kind of fun for me because I guess I should preface this with saying like Adam and Matt have a much better understanding of how drums should go than I have an understanding of how guitar parts are written. So,
Okay.
they have all of the guitar parts. Sometimes there'll be some vocals thrown into a demo, but then they're able to write a sort of competent drum part, like something that fits, something that works. It's very workable. And so then when I get the full demo, I do my best to like hit some of the fills that they have written. I'll do my best to certainly stay within the character. Like, okay, cool, there's this backbeat here, I'm going to keep the backbeat. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it for me is sort of tailoring it with what is possible, what I can physically do. um, but then also like there are a couple fills where I'm like, oh, I think this might be cool here, or like, oh, what if we went into double time for a minute? And I guess sort of opening this up a little bit more, it's been really fun because it's such a collaborative process for the most part. So
Yeah.
like Adam and Matt oftentimes will be sort of leading a demo or leading a new tune, but then we get to rehearsal, and like there have been a bunch of times where it's like, oh man, what it'd be really cool if we like went to a China thing here, or like we could turn this break and do something a little bit different, or what if we added this other like riff on top of this. So I guess to sort of more directly answer your question, um, just about like changing parts and things, I think it's less so because we're being picky per se, and more so because just like bouncing ideas back and forth, like having
Mm-hmm.
multiple people contributing will often yield a more complete, or better, for lack of a better term, like a better result. So
Yeah.
it's been really fun in that regard.
Heck yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think Anthony brought up a good thing just to touch on real quick again was having the demo and then going through it at practice is a big thing, at least for me. Because like a lot of times, like I said, I'll write a melody vocally on piano, and then it's like I know
Mm-hmm.
kind of where my range limits are at, and what how that's going to translate. Then you put the words on it and everything. Sometimes you twist yourself up with like
Yeah.
funny phrases or whatever, but when you actually like get to a position where you're jamming and you're like, for me, like moving around is a hindrance as well. Like I can't just like I don't have infinite breath to just like
Yeah.
jump on the stage and scream and everything. So being able to go through it like a number of times over the course of maybe a couple weeks, and like Anthony said, like you're like, oh, this scream part would really hit hard if I like did this like I don't know, like a swell, like a scream swell thing right before it, or
Mm-hmm.
just like things that you're not going to come up with necessarily like by just writing lyrics or getting a piano out.
Yeah.
That's definitely, I think, been a good thing for us as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a unique position to have, and that's really cool because you know, I feel like that's something that a lot of bands probably would benefit from, that ability to really refine, because ultimately if you can't keep hearing it over and over in your head, you can't come up with that perfect harmony, that perfect melody. You can't come up with that perfect fill and that timing, right? Where it's like, oh, this feels like it needs this at this part. And like being able to just have it on repeat, that changes things. That's really awesome.